In 1986, a former Boeing employee bought an old copy machine at an auction. To his surprise, the machine wasn't empty. Inside, he found what appeared to be a government manual from 1979 called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. It outlined an alarming plan by the elites of society, facilitated by the U.S. government, to control the rest of humanity through political, economic, and industrial means. Essentially, Silent Weapons is about enslaving the lower classes through non-violent means. The accuracy of this story is up for debate. Even the existence of this Boeing employee or his long-lost copier hasn't been verified. However, the Silent Wars document is freely available to read online, and it lays out some eerie tactics for keeping the 99% nice and oppressed. For instance, dumbing down public education in areas like math, science, and economics, keeping the so-called inferior classes from learning the rules of upward mobility, and disorganizing and distracting the general public with matters of no real importance. According to the document, there is profit in confusing the masses. The more confusion, the greater the profit. Keep that in mind as we discuss why Facebook is possibly the most dangerous silent weapon in the world. Most of us are aware that our behavior is tracked pretty heavily. Cookies and trackers keep records of what we see and do online. Our IP addresses are easily obtainable unless we encrypt our connections. GPS devices on our phones track our locations from home to work to the rooster fights behind the meatpacking plant. In 2002, the United States Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, became very interested in harvesting that data, and then some. In fact, it wanted to know what we were going to be doing all day, every day until we died. They began working on a new program called LifeLog, which would be a digital diary that would track nearly everything about a person. Their reading habits, phone calls, internet chat logs, movements, and even their heartbeats would be recorded in real time as they went about their daily life. DARPA's stated goal was to create software that studied people's behaviors, habits, and routines. It claimed the program was not meant to launch Minority Report-style takedowns of potential terrorists and criminals, and that only willing participants would be tracked. Naturally, a lot of privacy-minded people called this a truckload of BS. The problems with creating a comprehensive person tracker were obvious. What could a government do if it knew everything about its citizens? For that matter, what could criminals and other bad actors do if they got their hands on the collected data? After a passionate outcry by privacy advocates, LifeLog was effectively canned on February 4th, 2004, but it didn't matter. The same day, the LifeLog project was canceled. Another life-tracking project was born, conceived by an elf-like Harvard sophomore who would eventually become one of the most hated CEOs on the planet. The student, of course, was Mark Zuckerberg, and the project, one of the world's first social media sites, was called The Facebook. His idea would lead to things so much worse than what LifeLog promised, because so many of us jumped on the Facebook bandwagon at the time, willingly surrendering our data, which Zuck himself thinks we're stupid for doing. Facebook has been free to go nuts testing the waters in areas like psychological exploitation and political profiteering. But apparently that wasn't enough, because now Facebook's parent company, Meta, wants direct access to our brains themselves. We don't need to cover Facebook's troubling history and meteoric rise here. There are plenty of deep dives online if you need a refresher. All you need to know, really, is this. 20 years and 30 billion users later, Facebook is the most popular social media platform in the world by far. Facebook's business model depends on targeting advertisements to its users. It knows how to target these ads by harvesting and exploiting user data. We, the users, gave that data in return for convenient access to friends, family, and memes. It's like the worst social contract of all time. We give Facebook our time, money, personal info, shopping habits, and curated list of dislikes and likes. And in return, we get to talk to Aunt Laura about her diabetic cat without having to call her. What a trade. We're all in the future now, and we've seen what data exploitation can lead to. From aggressive, targeted advertising, to voter manipulation, to having your private data handed directly over to your own government. It has even led to ethnic cleansing. The most alarming example of this is the attempted genocide of the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. The Rohingya have been persecuted in Myanmar since the 1970s. They aren't even considered one of Myanmar's 135 official ethnic groups. But after Facebook spread to the Southeast Asian nation in the 2010s and quickly became the face of the internet for millions of citizens, Buddhist nationalists seized the opportunity to spread misinformation about the Rohingya, which quickly led to racial violence. This atrocity exploded in scale. Despite pleas from citizens and activists, Facebook did nothing to combat the misinformation, causing tech-illiterate lunatics to torch entire Rohingya villages and murder Muslim men, women, and children in the street. Eventually, over 700,000 people were killed or displaced, in large part because too many people believed lies they read on Facebook. Maybe Zuck was right. Maybe we are idiots. The heat on Facebook eventually got so bad that a major PR stunt was needed. On October 28, 2021, Facebook announced that it was changing its name to Meta. Today, Meta owns Facebook, Instagram, Oculus VR, Threads, and WhatsApp, all of which depend on your prolonged attention and engagement to thrive. It's not just Facebook anymore. Meta wants to be your one-stop for news, entertainment, hobbies, communication, shopping, and basic human socialization. In other words, it's a red flag factory. Take Meta's forays into video games, for instance. In 2007, Facebook was looking for ways to keep users on the platform for longer periods of time. It knew that gaming was an addictive and lucrative industry, so it started hosting games on its platform. The most popular of these games was Zynga's Farmville, which gave you your own plot of farmland for cultivating digital crops. Farmville was instantly accessible. It was free for one thing, and you didn't have to download it since it was hosted right there on Facebook. It was also designed with the social elements of Facebook in mind. Send a Farmville link to everyone on your friend list, and before long, you're all hanging out together, doing digital chores and chatting about your day. Farmville spearheaded a new business model that was every bit as ugly as Farmville's characters. It pioneered the concept of free-to-play games that don't cost anything to get started, but offer optional content for real-world money. It was a diabolical model that earned Facebook diabolical returns. But for Facebook, an even better perk of Farmville than the profits was that it kept players on Facebook. If players didn't check in and water their crops for long enough, their plants would wither and die, so they had to log on daily. If they tended to their farms every day, they were more likely to browse Facebook in between tasks. And if they got all of their friends playing by using Facebook's simple recruitment process, Facebook engagement would explode exponentially. Farmville is dead, but Meta has continued pouring money into games. Most recently, it has branched out into virtual reality. With Oculus VR's line of headsets, players can now immerse themselves further into games than ever before. More importantly, they can immerse themselves further into Meta's content. When Facebook announced its change to Meta in 2021, it also introduced the concept of the metaverse. Defining the metaverse is easier said than done. According to Mark Zuckerberg, it's meant to be the next step in the evolution of the internet, a virtual version of our world where we can work, play, and communicate from the comfort of our own chairs, like those extremely happy people from WALL-E. The most thoroughly covered aspect of the metaverse is Horizon Worlds, a VR game with Nintendo Wii graphics that allow you to take a legless avatar cavorting around fake lands to chat with other users. To be honest, it's pretty much just a more advanced version of Facebook, one that makes you cover your eyes and ears while you're using it, ensuring no real-life stimuli will take your attention away from what Meta wants you to see and hear. Now, let's talk about something even more alarming, Meta's research into mind-reading technology. That's right, this guy wants to read your thoughts. Meta has already made shocking progress in this area. A few years ago, the company revealed it was able to use neuroimaging technology to interpret the brain activity of people who were viewing a series of images and very accurately recreate the image based on that data. And this year, Meta has announced that it has achieved brain-to-text technology that is completely non-invasive. Think of it, your deepest, most intimate thoughts displayed in writing for the world to see. Now, Meta claims its intentions with this new tech are innocent, that this research will lead to things like better mobility for disabled people, improved workplace multitasking, and a smoother interface for its users. But nearly all of Meta's ventures have been used extensively for invading our privacy. Why would literal mind reading be where it draws the line? Another technology Meta has become predictably interested in is artificial intelligence, in ways that range from cringy to concerning. On the innocuous side, Meta uses its AI to do things like generate in-depth search results, personalized content, and make Snoop Dogg a D&D dungeon master for some reason. But after that, things get more problematic. A particularly weird thing that Meta is doing is populating Facebook and Instagram with fake AI users that people can talk to, ensuring even the most friendless of us will never be left alone for even a moment. It's one more step to keeping us permanently engaged, immobile in our little bubbles, having our attention sucked out of us at all times. And some uses of Meta's AI are downright diabolical. You may have heard of Wayfarers, Meta's AI-powered smart glasses. Meta markets these glasses like a wearable assistant, capable of doing things like remembering where you parked your car and translating languages in real time. But there's a lot of potential for harm here. In 2024, 2 Harvard students hacked a pair of Wayfarers and essentially turned them into a doxing machine that could grant access to a person's entire online identity just by taking a snapshot of them in the street. Others have already figured this hack out for themselves, guaranteeing stalking is about to get a lot easier. It's safe to say if you see someone in public wearing big Buddy Holly looking glasses with a light on the side, you should avoid that person. It's clear what Meta is attempting with its headsets, its self-generating content, its fake friends, its games, and the entire virtual world it's attempting to build. It wants your eyes, it wants your ears, your mouth, your brain, It wants a monopoly on human connection. It wants you to be so deeply immersed in its digital swamp that face-to-face communication becomes impossible and you just drown. Drown in Meta, never to return to the real world again, like the humans in the Matrix. Meta's reckless investments and strange business practices reek of desperation at a crucial time for the company. Users, especially in the coveted youth demographics, have been jumping ship for years. Facebook is progressively being viewed as a cesspit of AI slop, boomer humor, and bot accounts, and Meta's solution is to add more AI, turning its back on its mission statement of a more open and connected world by populating its platforms with cold, unfeeling robots, sinking billions of dollars into a virtual reality game that looks like a thrift store version of VR chat. These are not the actions of a company in control. After all, look at Zuck himself. This is a guy who, let's say, doesn't really have a lot of fans. Aside from Zuck's shifty attitude toward privacy and misinformation, it's no secret that Zuck has been dunked on by just about everyone ages 9 to 99, and he knows it. That's why, for the past few years, he has been attempting to turbocharge his masculinity, leading to annoying PR stunts like filming himself at the gym, learning jujitsu, wearing gold chains and talking to Joe Rogan about hunting, and of course, surfing in a tuxedo and trying desperately to look like James Bond, but at best managing to look like one of the penguins from Surf's Up. But don't let this sad guy, who somehow looks like he's 40 and 0 at the same time, distract you with his new muscles. Zuckerberg has been trying to win the public back since Cambridge Analytica, and he's been courting the MAGA base since Trump's 2024 win was looking more and more likely. Zuck, a man who has been starkly anti-Trump in the past, was more than ready to ditch his convictions the second MAGA became the winning side. And now, coincidentally or not, Meta has announced that it will no longer be fact-checking posts, relying instead on X-style community notes provided by its users. If you thought things were bad on Facebook alone, wait until you see the dystopian cyber hell it's about to become. Look, just stop using Meta platforms. Load Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp into a cannon and fire them directly into a volcano. They are objectively bad for you. It's undeniable that Mark Zuckerberg thinks of his social brands as inherently good. As we've read from internal Facebook memos and heard from Facebook employees themselves, Meta's mission statement is growth at all costs. So what does it mean when growth costs us our sovereignty? When making the world more open and connected means selling lifelog-style blueprints of every person on Earth to the world's most heinous propagandists? We can all look at Zuckerberg and think, this guy might be a tool, a dork, a loser, etc., but he's mostly harmless. But we saw in the Cambridge Analytica scandal that he's not beyond selling us out to people who would use our data to divide us. And let's say Meta's intentions are innocent. We still can't trust them not to screw up and accidentally destabilize a country or sell our data to our most vicious enemies. Their inability to detect AI bot accounts launched by Cambridge Analytica and other bad actors led directly to extreme social manipulation across the globe. Is the next Myanmar genocide going to happen in the United States, France, Norway? Will partisan nutjobs weaponize Facebook to provoke civil wars all across the planet? Do we really want to hand the keys to society over to this guy? We won't bother answering that. Now, if you think all that is bad, just wait until you realize how much of your personal data is already being harvested, sold, and weaponized against you even outside of what Meta offers. Every time you browse, shop, or even just exist online, your data is being tracked, stored, and exposed. Hackers, corporations, and even governments are building digital profiles of you, your habits, your identity, and even your financial information, all without your permission. That's why I'm really happy to have Aura sponsoring this video. Aura helps protect you from online threats by monitoring your personal information across the dark web, financial institutions, and data broker lists. If your identity or passwords get leaked, Aura alerts you in real time so that you can take action before it's too late. Aura also includes a VPN to keep your browsing private, a password manager to keep your login secure, and real-time fraud alerts to warn you of suspicious activity on your financial accounts. And if you ever do fall victim to identity theft, Aura provides $1 million in identity theft insurance to help you recover. So scroll down, click the link below, or go to tinfoilhatgamer.com/aura to start protecting yourself today while also supporting the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me at Tinfoil Hat Gamer.